Thomas Boleyn. On this day in Tudor history, the 12th of March, 1539, Thomas Boleyn, the father of Anne Boleyn, died. Thomas Boleyn was an important nobleman during the reign of King Henry VIII. He was known as a skilled diplomat, an intelligent courtier, and a man who understood how to survive in the dangerous world of Tudor politics. Born around 1477, he rose in power by serving the king in several roles, including ambassador to foreign courts in Europe. He travelled to places such as France and the Netherlands and gained a reputation for being well educated and capable of representing England abroad. Over time, his loyalty and ability helped him gain titles and lands. He eventually became Earl of Wiltshire and Earl of Ormond. However, today he is remembered most as the father of Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII. Anne Boleyn's relationship with the king would change the course of English history and eventually lead to the break with Rome and the Catholic Church. Anne Boleyn's rise at court brought enormous success to the Boleyn family. When the king married Anne in 1533, Thomas Boleyn's status increased greatly. He became one of the most powerful nobles in England, and his family stood at the centre of the Tudor court. For a time, the Boleyns were one of the most influential families in the country. But the Tudor court was a dangerous place, and fortunes could change very quickly. In 1536, everything collapsed for the Boleyn family. Anne Boleyn was arrested and accused of serious crimes, including adultery and treason. She was imprisoned in the Tower of London and later executed in May 1536. Her brother George Boleyn was also accused of treason and executed. But the Tudor court was a dangerous place, and fortunes could change very quickly. In 1536, everything collapsed for the Boleyn family. Anne Boleyn was arrested and accused of serious crimes, including adultery and treason. She was imprisoned in the Tower of London and later executed in May 1536. Her brother George Boleyn was also accused of treason and executed. Many historians today believe these accusations were false and part of political struggle at court. For Thomas Boleyn, these events must have been deeply painful. In a very short time, he lost 2 of his children in a shocking and public way. Only a few years earlier, he had seen his daughter become Queen of England and his family's rise to the very top of Tudor society. Now both Anne and George were gone, and the family's name had been damaged. Despite this tragedy, Thomas Boleyn did not completely fall from favour. Unlike some families connected to people's executions for treason. He was allowed to keep his titles and much of his property. This may have been because he had served the king faithfully for many years and was not seen as a threat. After 1536, he appears to have lived a quieter life. He spent more time on his estates, especially at Hever Castle, the Boleyn family home. Life for him must have been very different from the dramatic years when his daughter had been queen. On the 12th of March 1539, Thomas Boleyn died at around 62 years old. His death was quiet compared with the dramatic events that had affected his family. Because his only son had already been executed, his titles became unavailable. Thomas Boleyn was buried at St. Peter's Church in Hever, close to the castle that had been at the centre of his family's story. Today, he remains a fascinating figure in Tudor history, a man who rose to great power, saw his daughter become queen, and then witnessed the tragic fall of the Boleyn family.